Miss All Sunday. Before the world knew her as Miss All Sunday, Nico Robin was just a child from O'Hara, an island of scholars obsessed with uncovering history the world government wanted erased. That curiosity cost her everything. When O'Hara was destroyed in a buster call, Robin barely escaped, branded a criminal at just 8 years old, with a massive bounty and a reputation built on lies. From that moment on, she lived alone, constantly hunted, learning how to trust no one and survive at any cost. That life shaped her into someone incredibly sharp and unreadable. She became one of the only people in the world who can read poneglyphs, ancient stones that hold the truth about the lost history. And that's the real reason everyone fears her, not because of what she's done, but because of what she knows. Her devil fruit, the flower fruit, lets her sprout parts of her body anywhere she wants. Arms, eyes, even full clones. In a fight, she doesn't waste time. One moment you're standing, the next your spine is snapped before you even realize what happened. She handles multiple enemies effortlessly, controlling the battlefield without even moving much herself. But what makes it more unsettling is how calm she stays through all of it. By the time she appears in Baroque Works as Crocodile's right hand, she's already mastered the art of playing both sides. She's quiet, observant, always watching, rarely speaking unless it matters. And when she does, it's usually something unsettlingly blunt or dark, like casually imagining worst-case scenarios while everyone else panics.
Mr. 3. Before stepping onto Little Garden, Mr. 3 had already carved out a reputation inside Baroque Works as someone who didn't just carry out missions, he turned them into performances. Serving directly under Mr. 0 as an officer agent, alongside his partner, Miss Goldenweek, he wasn't feared for brute strength, but for the way he designed suffering. Even among criminals, the two of them stood out as deeply unsettling. They didn't just defeat people, they played with them first. At some point, he fully embraced that role within the organization, using the wax fruit in ways that went far beyond simple combat. Victims weren't just taken out, they were slowly turned into wax statues, frozen mid-expression like pieces in his personal gallery. And before that final step, he often let Miss Goldenweek manipulate them with her colors trap, breaking their will and emotions completely. By the time Mr. 3 stepped in, they were already part of the artwork. It's no surprise other Baroque Works agents saw them as completely unhinged. That same mindset carries into his mission on Little Garden. Instead of charging in, he carefully sets the stage. The island, the giant story, and Brogy, even the Straw Hats themselves, everything becomes part of his plan. He lets others move first while he quietly builds his candle house, a trap where his enemies are slowly encased in wax, unable to escape as time runs out. His devil fruit gives him full control over wax, and he uses it with precision. He can create weapons, shields, restraints, even perfect clones of himself to confuse opponents. In battle, it never feels rushed. He takes his time, shaping the situation exactly how he wants it. And the most disturbing part? He genuinely enjoys watching people struggle, calling it art as they're slowly immobilized. In the live-action version, that personality comes through even stronger. He's calm, theatrical, almost polite at times, but there's always something off. One moment he's casually sipping tea, the next he's talking about turning someone into a permanent display. It's that contrast that makes him so memorable. When other agents like Mr. 5 and Miss Valentine show up after their failure, he immediately looks down on them, confident in his own plan. But things don't go as smoothly as he expects. The Straw Hats resist, Zorro refuses to break even when facing death, and Luffy eventually smashes through everything he built. And that's what really breaks him, not just losing, but watching his carefully crafted art fall apart. The control slips, the performance collapses, and suddenly he's not the one directing the scene anymore. After the defeat, what's left isn't just frustration, it's fear. Because now he has to answer to Mr. 0, and for someone like Mr. 3, failure isn't just embarrassing, it's dangerous. Instead of accepting it, he immediately looks for a way out, even turning on his own allies if it means saving himself. Mr. 3 isn't the strongest in Baroque Works, but that's never been the point. His real strength lies in his mind, his patience, and his twisted obsession with turning pain into something he can admire.
Mr. 5.
Before running into the Straw Hats, Mr. 5, also known as Gem of the Border, had a near-perfect record inside Baroque Works. Starting off as one of the lower-ranked officer agents alongside Miss Valentine, he quickly built a name for himself through sheer confidence and destructive ability. At some point, he gained the power of the Bamu Bamu Nomi, and from then on, missions stopped being challenges. They became routine, until he ran into people who didn't play by his expectations. He first shows up at Whiskey Peak, not to help the agents there, but to clean house. Mr. Zero had discovered that spies had infiltrated the organization, and Mr. 5 was sent to eliminate them, Princess Phoebe and Igaram. There's no hesitation, no second-guessing. To him, friendship is weakness, and anyone tied to it is already at a disadvantage. When Mr. 9 and Miss Monday try to stand in his way, it barely slows him down. Despite that mindset, his partnership with Miss Valentine is surprisingly stable. He treats her with a level of respect that's rare within Baroque Works, almost like the two actually function as a proper team, rather than just allies of convenience. But underneath all that confidence, there's a short fuse waiting to go off. Mr. 5 gets irritated easily, and when he does, things escalate fast. He lashes out over the smallest things, kicking, striking, or straight up trying to blow people up without a second thought. It's fitting, considering his ability literally turns his body into a walking bomb. With the Bamu Bamu Nomi, he can trigger explosions from any part of his body without taking damage. His punches detonate on impact, his breath can fire explosive blasts, and even something as ridiculous as flicking his nose can turn into an attack. He's completely immune to explosions too, which makes most counterattacks useless against him. The problem is, for all that power, he doesn't always use it wisely. Even someone like Mr. 3 calls him out for relying too much on raw force without thinking things through. That weakness becomes obvious during his encounters with the Straw Hats. At Whiskey Peak, things spiral out of control when Luffy and Zoro start fighting each other, completely throwing off his plan. He tries to take advantage of the chaos, but instead ends up getting caught in it, knocked out before he can properly finish the job. Later on Little Garden, he teams up with Mr. 3, shifting from hunter to support in a much larger plan. This time he plays along, helping capture Vivi and assisting in turning the Straw Hats into wax statues. When Luffy comes back though, everything starts falling apart again. Mr. 3 already knows they're outmatched, but Mr. 5 keeps pushing forward, chasing Usopp and Karoo, convinced he can still win. That overconfidence is what finally does him in. Usopp tricks him into swallowing what he thinks is another explosive attack, but instead it's packed with spicy Tabasco. For someone who literally turns into explosions, the reaction hits hard. His body overheats, his control slips, and in that moment of chaos, Zoro steps in and ends it with a single strike. Mr. 5 is the perfect example of someone who had all the power in the world, but not the awareness to use it properly. As long as things went his way, he looked unstoppable. The moment they didn't, everything unraveled.
Miss Valentine. Before crossing paths with the Straw Hats, Miss Valentine, also known as Makita, was already an officer agent in Baroque Works, working alongside Mr. 5. She carries herself with a constant sense of confidence, almost like nothing around her is ever truly a threat. No matter the situation, she keeps that light, almost playful attitude, usually letting Mr. 5 do the talking while she watches with an amused smile. But that carefree personality hides something much darker. She doesn't just defeat opponents, she enjoys dragging it out. Instead of ending fights quickly, she prefers slow, painful finishes, like crushing someone bit by bit just to watch them struggle. And if someone dares to ignore her while she's attacking, that playful mood can flip instantly. Her devil fruit, the Kido Kido Nomi, gives her full control over her body weight. 1 second she's light enough to float through the air with her umbrella, drifting like she's barely there. The next, she becomes impossibly heavy, crashing down with enough force to completely flatten anyone underneath. It's simple, but deadly, and when paired with Mr. 5's explosions, it becomes even more dangerous. She can launch into the air and drop down at just the right moment, turning herself into a human missile. In the live-action version, she stands out because of that contrast. She laughs through everything, literally, treating fights like games, even when things get serious. It makes her unpredictable. You never really know if she's joking or about to crush someone without warning. Her mission starts at Whiskey Peak, where she and Mr. 5 are sent to eliminate Vivi after her identity as a spy is exposed. But things don't go as planned. The Straw Hats interfere, Igaram sacrifices himself to buy time, and just like that, their perfect record starts to crack. And in Baroque Works, failure isn't something you just walk away from. That fear pushes her into the next mission on Little Garden, where she teams up with Mr. 3 and Miss Goldenweek. This time, the plan is bigger. Capture the Straw Hats, deal with the giants, and make up for their earlier mistake. At first, it works. They overpower Usopp, help trap the crew, and everything seems under control. But just like before, it slips away. Usopp manages to turn things around, freeing his friends and breaking the trap. And once that happens, the balance shifts fast. She's defeated, and with the mission in ruins, her first instinct is to report back to Mr. Zero. And that's where things take a darker turn. Before she can say a word, Mr. 3 realizes what that would mean for him. So instead of letting her speak, he silences her permanently, encasing her in wax to protect himself. Miss Valentine walks into every situation like she's untouchable, laughing it off like nothing can go wrong. But in the world of Baroque Works, confidence only gets you so far. The moment things fall apart, there's no room for mistakes and no one you can truly trust.
Mr. 9. Mr. 9 starts off as a Baroque Works bounty hunter, partnered with Miss Wednesday while she secretly works undercover. Even though he's technically an antagonist early on, he doesn't really fit the typical mold. Beneath the flashy look and overconfidence, there's someone who actually values loyalty and friendship, something most Baroque Works agents see as a weakness. He carries himself like royalty, rocking a crown, dramatic poses, and exaggerated manners, but it all comes off a bit clumsy rather than elegant. That same clumsiness shows up in fights, too. He relies on acrobatics and twin steel bats, flipping and spinning to build momentum for his attacks. The bats even hide wires to trap opponents, but despite all the flair, he struggles against stronger enemies and even manages to take himself out of the fight at times. During the Reverse Mountain events, he and Vivi try to kill Laboon for food, which brings them into conflict with Luffy and the crew. Things quickly fall apart, and after getting knocked out and thrown overboard, they shift to spying on the Straw Hats instead. Even then, they underestimate them, thinking they're easy targets. At Whiskey Peak, everything escalates. When Zoro exposes the bounty hunters, Mr. 9 joins the attack but is completely outmatched. His defeat is quick, and it becomes clear he's in over his head. But his defining moment comes right after, when Baroque Works turns on Vivi. Instead of following orders, he stands his ground and chooses to protect her, declaring they're still partners. That decision costs him. He tries to hold off stronger agents like Mr. 5, but he's ultimately taken down. Still, in that moment, Mr. 9 proves he's more than just comic relief or a low-level villain. He's someone who chose loyalty over fear, even when he had no chance of winning.
Miss Goldenweek. Marianne, better known as Miss Goldenweek, is one of Baroque Works' officer agents and the partner of Mr. 3, but she feels completely different from the rest. She looks like a carefree kid at first glance, with big eyes, rosy cheeks, and twin braids, but that soft appearance hides just how strange and effective she can be. Her style matches that playful energy, a wide pink hat, layered shirts with golden across the front, a loose overall skirt, striped stockings, and oversized red shoes. She doesn't look like someone involved in a criminal organization, which makes what she does even more unexpected. After Vivi is exposed and escapes, she's sent with Mr. 3 to Little Garden to set up an ambush. While he focuses on planning and trapping the giants, she casually sleeps through most of it, completely unfazed by the situation. Even when things start moving, she keeps that same relaxed attitude. When the Straw Hats arrive, instead of jumping into battle, she simply lays out a picnic like nothing's wrong. But that calm behavior quickly turns into something much more dangerous. Using her color traps, she manipulates emotions in an instant. A single painted symbol can flip someone's mindset entirely, turning allies against each other or making them lose all urgency. Luffy ends up caught in it too, suddenly ignoring his crew and even sitting down peacefully for tea with her, completely out of character. It's a subtle kind of control, but incredibly effective. It takes Usopp burning the marked area to snap Luffy out of it. Miss Goldenweek doesn't rely on strength or speed. Instead, she controls the flow of the fight without even raising her voice, making her one of the most unpredictable members of Baroque Works.
Mr. 13. Mr. 13 might just be an otter, but within Baroque Works, he's part of one of the most feared duos, the Unluckies. Alongside Miss Friday, he works directly under Mr. Zero, delivering orders across the organization and stepping in whenever someone fails. And when they show up, it's usually the last thing an agent sees. What makes him stand out isn't just his role, but how capable he actually is. He's incredibly sharp for an animal, able to track targets, understand conversations, and even use weapons with precision. He also has a surprisingly good memory, sketching accurate drawings of the Straw Hats after only seeing them once, which makes him valuable for identifying targets. In combat, he uses a pair of sharp-edged shells, turning them into close-range weapons. When operating from above, he and Miss Friday take a more destructive approach, dropping bombs on their targets, with Mr. 13 lighting them using his shells before release. At Little Garden, the pair is sent to investigate after things go quiet with Mr. 3 and Miss Goldenweek. Instead, they walk straight into Sanji, who tricks them by posing as Mr. 3 during a call with Mr. 0. The moment they realize something's off, they move in to eliminate him, but it ends almost instantly. Sanji completely overwhelms them, launching Mr. 13 straight into the wax structure with enough force to leave him embedded in it. Just like that, one of Baroque Works' executioners is taken out, proving that even their most ruthless enforcers aren't a match for the Straw Hats when things turn serious.
Miss Friday. Miss Friday is the other half of the Unluckies, a massive vulture who works alongside Mr. 13 under Baroque Works. Together, they act as both messengers and executioners, showing up whenever something goes wrong and making sure failure is dealt with immediately. She has a striking look, with dark feathers, a pale neck, and a sharp yellow beak, topped off with an aviator cap and goggles that give her a surprisingly tactical feel. But her appearance matches her role. She's ruthless, with no hesitation when it comes to turning on her own allies if they don't deliver results. That lack of loyalty becomes clear more than once. She's willing to attack fellow agents like Mr. 9 and Vivi for failing their mission, and even turns on other bounty hunters without a second thought. At one point, she and Mr. 13 even sell out their own organization to the Marines just to secure food, showing that survival matters more to them than loyalty. Like her partner, she's far more intelligent than a normal animal. She can follow conversations, track targets, and handle weapons with ease. In combat, she brings serious firepower, carrying machine guns strong enough to break through even Mr. 3's hardened wax defenses. From the air, she and Mr. 13 drop bombs on targets below, turning battles into one-sided attacks. But despite all that, when they finally face someone like Sanji, it doesn't go their way. Their usual tactics fall apart instantly, proving that even Baroque Works' airborne enforcers aren't untouchable when they go up against the wrong opponent.